Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are, and welcome to our chapter leadership launch event. My name is Amanda Bement, and along with the rest of the chapter team, we are so excited to be with all of you today, and thank you for sharing your Saturday with us. I would like to briefly review some logistical details for the call. Currently, all participant lines are muted. Today's call is being recorded and will be shared with all registrants after the meeting concludes. If you're using a screen reader, please be aware that all the controls are at the bottom of the Zoom interface. The control bar may collapse when not in use. If you prefer to prevent the controls from auto-hiding, please go to the settings within the Zoom platform, select Accessibility, and then select Always Show Meeting Controls. If you have any questions throughout the presentations, please send them through the chat function or send to chapters@fightingblindness.org.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Fridovich, and I'm the Chapter Engagement Manager of the South Region. And I wanted to interject the people that we're going to have on the call with us today. First, we have Nathan Clokey, the Director of Chapter Engagement of the West, Bailey Bostelman, Director of Chapter Engagement of the East, Allie Swark, Chapter Engagement Manager of the Midwest, Bree Mullins, Chapter Engagement Manager of the Northeast, Cassandra Fridovich, Chapter Engagement Manager of the South, Juliana Gawana, Chapter Engagement Manager of the Southwest, Amanda Bennett, Chapter Engagement Assistant, and Erin Baranowski, Development and Chapter Engagement Assistant. We're so excited to meet all of you. Next up, we have Erin, and she'll introduce you to the goals of the chapters and some of the ideas on how to reach those goals.
Hi, everyone. So again, I'm Erin. I'm the Development and Chapter Engagement Assistant. I'm going to talk about goal of chapters. Our mission is to find treatments and cures for the entire spectrum of blinding retinal diseases, including RP, macular degeneration, and Usher syndrome. Our newly revamped chapter program will help to support this mission by promoting our 3 areas of focus: education, resources, and revenue, which we will be touching on more throughout this presentation. We also have started hosting and will continue to host seminars and events that provide research information and resources in a fun format, including bi-monthly national chapter webinars and chapter volunteer-led do-it-yourself events. Our hope is that by doing this, we will accelerate the mission of the foundation within local communities across the nation and eventually as a whole. Next slide. Okay, so we also want to go over the format of a chapter meeting. So as mentioned in the goals section, one of the priorities of the new chapter team is to foster volunteers and leaders in their local communities to come together to further the mission of the foundation. One of the ways we plan to do this is by holding quarterly chapter meetings in each location. These meetings will provide educational updates, provide resources in the community, and identify, cultivate, and generate revenue. We've created a format in order to meet the requirements of a chapter meeting. So a chapter meeting should begin with a welcome from the chapter president. Then your chapter engagement manager will do foundation highlights and research advancements. Then chapter updates from vice president, the education chair, revenue chair, and resource chair present on their areas of focus. And then every chapter meeting should end with open discussion and networking. A great tip is also to wrap up each meeting with an action item. This can be some form of fundraising goal in between meetings, a call to bring friends to the next meeting, or a goal to attend a member's do-it-yourself fundraiser. These can be fun and creative. If you need suggestions, your local chapter engagement manager can help with this. Now on to Cassandra.
Thanks, Erin. So just to reiterate, this presented format of chapter meetings should happen 4 times a year in every local chapter. So each chapter meeting will educate the audience about the latest research, advancements, therapies, and disease information, connect the audience with resources for local low vision organizations, and engage the audience with our mission through participating in our local fundraising events. For example, your chapter met with a local Society for the Blind. Definitely highlight that in your resources section. Did a local retinal specialist speak at a networking event? This is a perfect topic for the education chair to highlight in their quarterly presentation. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to discuss with your local chapter engagement manager. We're always here to help. Next, I'll hand it over to Amanda to discuss our leadership roles. Amanda?
Thank you, Cassandra. Just as an introduction to each of the leadership roles, they will all touch upon and collaborate with the chapter engagement manager to drive annual goals and plans for the chapter, to recruit, to motivate, and to encourage chapter members, community leaders, retinal specialists, and others to participate in chapter activities and to raise revenue for the foundation. To start, the president oversees chapter functions, ensures leadership roles are filled, works with the chapter engagement manager to develop meeting agendas, serves as chapter mentor, and identifies revenue opportunities. The vice president oversees chapter nominating committees, serves as a stand-in when the president is unable to attend meetings, serves as a chapter mentor, and identifies revenue opportunities as well. And as we saw a few slides back, both the chapter president and the vice president have active roles in the planning and running of the chapter meetings. Next, Erin will introduce you to the chapter education and resource chairs.
Okay, chapter education and resource chairs. Chapter education chair serves on National Professional Outreach Committee, identifies speakers for chapter meetings, serves as chapter mentor, identifies revenue opportunities. The chapter resource chair provides leadership to implement chapter mentor program or the CMP, shares local national resources, assists chapter engagement manager with information for chapter news for distribution, and identifies revenue opportunities. Next slide.
The chapter revenue and diversity and inclusion chairs. The chapter revenue chair will provide reporting from event subcommittees, supports Raising Our Sights, do-it-yourself fundraisers, vision walk, and other events, and also serves as a chapter mentor and identifies revenue opportunities. And the final chair is the chapter diversity and inclusion chair, and they will ensure a diverse and inclusive environment is supported in all chapter activities, also serves as a chapter mentor and identifies revenue opportunities. And now Amanda will introduce you to our chapter presidents. Amanda?
Thank you. So we have split into 2 slides are the names of our current chapter presidents. So I'll quickly read those out to you so that way, if you have any questions or are interested in getting involved in your local chapter, your president is a great resource to start. So in Arizona, we have Bai Mo. In Austin, San Antonio, we have Todd and Meredith Dunn. Bay Area has co-presidents Wayne Sackett and Eric Zankman. Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky has Tim Smith. In Cleveland, Paula Dubecki is our president. In Columbus, Jen and Kevin Walker. In Dallas, Neva Fairchild. Denver, Lindsay Blankenship. East Michigan, Ashley Westlock. Fort Wayne, Rick Dahlstrom. In Houston, Carly Colton. In Indianapolis, Angie Kirchhoff. Kansas City, Terry Super. Los Angeles, Jesse Walensky. Milwaukee, Bunny Jordan. Minneapolis, Northern Lights, Julie Anderson. San Diego, Randy Wechter. Seattle, Rob Relius. St. Louis, Mary Morgan Corbett. And in the East, we have in Atlanta, Manathia Hairston, Baltimore, Mindy Kaplan, Boston, Martha Steele, Greensboro, Triad, Tom Sarin, Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach, Deborah Laughlin, in Jacksonville, Adrian Keeve, Long Island, Karen Montanese, Naples, we have Bobby Ramsey, Nashville, Susan Fries, New York City, Carl Gruber, Orlando, Dan Day, Philadelphia, Mike Valenti, Pittsburgh, Eric Bernardo, Raleigh, Christy Lee, South Carolina, Katie Hopkins, and in DC Metro, we have Davida Lours. Thank you so much to our presidents for their hard work and dedication, and we are excited to work with you and future presidents. And that concludes our portion of the presentation. And now I'd like to pass the meeting over to Ali Sarwark, who will present on our first area of focus, education. Ali?
All right, sorry, I had to ask to unmute myself. As Amanda mentioned, I am the chapter engagement manager for the Midwest region. My name is Ali Sarwark, and my markets are primarily in Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. So I just wanted to give a little overview of myself, but for the main parts of my discussion is education and providing education and information-based support to individuals affected with a retinal disease is a critical component of the Foundation's research mission. And we are so excited to be bringing more education opportunities with this reinvigorated chapter program. But what exactly does that mean? What education opportunities do the chapters provide? And I'd like to start with the National Chapter Vision webinars. So we have developed these National Chapter Vision webinars to increase understanding of inherited retinal diseases and the associated research that is underway. Plus, it has that added benefit and convenience of not needing to leave the house to attend. Each webinar consists of several speakers, including Foundation staff, a chapter president host, and a panel of researchers. These webinars are held every other month via Zoom as well as Facebook Live, and recordings of these can be found on the Foundation's website. Our very first National Chapter Vision webinar was back in November 2020, which is hard to believe, but our next one is going to be 2 months from now, and that will be in September of this year. Now moving on to vision seminars. These half-day conferences are held regionally on an annual basis. Through valuable discussions on research progress and hopeful treatments, each seminar provides a forum to ask questions of experts in the field of retinal disease research and gives much needed hope to those affected by informing them about the latest therapies and treatments available. Some of you may have attended a vision seminar in the past, and hopefully that was something that you found incredibly valuable. And I'm happy to announce that with this new program, the chapter program, we will be hosting more every year. This year, we will have vision seminars in 4 locations, and then another 2 being virtual. Going forward, we will have 6 locations annually, and a virtual component will be added to each one. Lastly, I'd like to go over new and innovative educational topics for chapter meetings. So where vision seminars are regional, chapter meetings are local and will be held quarterly, as that was previously stated. But all chapter meetings have an education component with presentations given by a retinal specialist, low vision doctor, or other vision resource expert in the area. To ensure we have engaging presentations, tracking data is a must. So our team has compiled a nationally based list of past chapter meeting topics and speakers. This current data is being analyzed, and chapter engagement managers like myself will continue to measure the outcome of every meeting paying closest attention to the feedback that we receive from you all and those in attendance. But for now, that covers everything, at least in terms of the three main areas of education opportunities provided by the chapters. So Nathan, if you wouldn't mind, we'd love to hear what you got to say about resources.
All right, same. I was getting permission to unmute, so thank you. Today, I'm going to talk about the resources the chapter can provide to our communities. So the main three areas are local and national low vision resources, and then you've got genetic testing, and then we have our mentor program. So I'm going to quickly kind of dive into each of those topics for you. So starting with our local and national low vision resources. We're hoping that each partner or each chapter partners with national and local organizations to connect our members with the resources and services they need. So the chapter resource chair can work to identify low vision organizations in their community that can share about their programs and come and participate in our chapter meetings. And these community partners are critical. We need them for our chapters to be successful. They provide the services that our members need to survive and thrive. And some of these examples of community partners can be a local lighthouse for the blind, a school for the blind, a mobility and orientation specialist, and more. The other way we can provide resources to our community is through genetic testing. So most rare retinal degenerative diseases, including RP, Stargardt, Usher, choroideremia, they're all inherited and usually caused by one or more defects or mutations in a single gene. And so we have genetic testing available to attempt to identify the defective gene. And the foundation offers this as an open access, no cost. We provide genetic counseling as well to provide an opportunity for patients with a clinical diagnosis for inherited retinal disease to get those answers and figure out where that gene mutation is. And then those individuals that are tested can join our MyRetina Tracker registry. The registry is designed to share de-identified information with the research and clinical communities about people with IRDs to help accelerate the discovery of treatments and cures. And finally, one of my favorite resources we provide is the chapter mentor program. Mentors give new members and newly diagnosed an opportunity to express their feelings, talk about concerns, and ask questions. The mentors will provide essential information relating to the spectrum of diseases our research supports and other low vision resources. But most importantly, mentors offer resources, support, and understanding because they or their family member are affected. It's an ideal volunteer opportunity for someone who has been diagnosed with an inherited retinal disease, someone that likes one-on-one interaction and who can encourage others. It's a truly rewarding and meaningful experience. And that's highlighting out the resources we can provide. Now I'd love to pass it over to Bree Mullins to talk about revenue.
Hello, everyone. I am Bree Mullins, and as stated before, I'm the Chapter Engagement Manager for the Northeast. One of the goals of the chapters with this new revamp is to increase and bring in new revenue. Our chapters will be key in providing new revenue opportunities to support events, major gifts, Legacy Society, and Visionary Circle, and their existing efforts to reach our goals. Each chapter's goal for this fiscal year is to bring in $24,000 in new revenue. And while that number may look intimidating for some markets, your chapter engagement manager will be there to support you in achieving this goal by working directly with the chair of revenue, promoting local DIY events, and assisting in outreach to corporations for sponsorship. A few examples of how each chapter can reach this goal include bringing in 3 corporate sponsors at $3,000 each, recruiting 5 new walk teams that raise $500 each, or hosting a DIY event that raises $2,500. As you can see, the chapter program provides multiple new revenue opportunities for the foundation. We have the opportunity to secure corporate sponsors. These sponsors may include, but are not limited to, local banks, eye care facilities, and local small businesses. In addition to participating in the local and/or virtual Vision Walk each year, our chapters have the opportunity to host their own local events through our Raising Our Sights DIY program. These events could be a dinner, a golf tournament, wine or beer tasting, bingo night, and more. Do-it-yourself fundraising through Raising Our Sights is an opportunity to combine your commitment with the foundation fighting blindness while creating a positive change in the world. Many different activities can be fundraisers. Some events are large scale and require a lot of planning, while others can be carried out individually. DIY fundraisers can range from starting a Facebook fundraiser on your personal account to hosting a benefit concert in your town. The options for DIY fundraising are endless. To keep moving forward the mission of the foundation, bringing in new revenue is key. Along with the revenue FFB raises through existing streams, new revenue that the chapter brings in will help to accelerate the mission to drive research for preventions, treatments, and cures for people affected by retinal diseases. That is all I have to say today about revenue, and I'd like to pass it on to Bailey.
Thanks so much, Bree. So a lot of you are probably wondering as well, as our team has shared all these different components of a chapter, how does this connect with the foundation staff? And, how are we supposed to do this all on our own? So no, you will not be alone for any of this creation of the chapters, as well as implementing of these education, resource, and revenue components. So each chapter will be assigned a chapter engagement manager who will help them as they navigate all the workings of their chapter. To make sure that we provide adequate support to each chapter, we have grown and are continuing to grow the foundation staff so that each chapter engagement manager will be working with approximately 5 to 6 chapters. This really will allow each chapter engagement manager to be able to dedicate more time to help with whatever needs may arise from the chapters. So when thinking about the needs of each chapter, we put together a list of resources that we think that each leader will need to have on hand. From this list, we have been able to build out various tools that we will be providing each of our leaders to help make sure they can successfully run their chapters. So a few of these tools will be the chapter guide that I'm sure many of you have already seen in one way or the other. We will also give you leadership role descriptions so that each of these roles for the presidents, vice presidents, the chair roles have a detailed description of what their responsibilities are. We'll also provide you with a toolkit. And in this toolkit, it will have email templates for corporate outreach, in-kind solicitation templates, DIY ideas, meeting agenda templates, etc. And then also we'll provide newsletter templates and promotional assistance throughout various channels, whether that's social media, email, and print. Outside of those general toolkit items that we have created, if you find that your chapter needs additional resources or additional assistance, your chapter engagement manager will help to create those as well if you find that there's pieces that are missing from that. Your chapter engagement manager also is going to be there to help you achieve your fundraising goals. We do understand that it can be difficult to find creative ways to increase revenue. So each chapter engagement manager is there to help brainstorm new ideas and really bring those ideas to life. Also, by using our Raising Our Sights DIY platform, as well as using the Vision Walk and corporate support, the chapter engagement managers are there to help the chapter as they navigate all of these various opportunities. So each chapter leader will really work closely with your assigned chapter engagement manager to create content to educate the community through newsletters, for topics for webinars and seminars, as well as agendas for these chapter meetings. You all are living and breathing and working with these local constituents in the local community. So we really will rely on, you to identify what your community needs. And so we can work together to be able to create, topics that make sense for each individual chapter. We'll also work together to identify areas where we need to focus more time and attention as we are able to celebrate the success together as we see the increased impact in this communities. This new initiative is a true partnership that will bring together the Foundation Fighting Blindness staff and the community as we're all working together to further the mission. So we're going to pause there. We have some breakout rooms that are set up. Each of you, when you registered, you identified which area of focus that you are most interested in. So Amanda is going to go ahead and click the magical button. It will send everybody off into their rooms. Once the time is up, you will all be sent back into this main room. Each of those rooms is going to have at least 1 or 2 staff members in it. So they will help monitor the conversation and be able to, get things moving. So Amanda, go ahead and send us away.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to go to the breakout rooms and meet with your other local leaders. And I also appreciate you all giving up an hour on your Saturday to come and learn about our chapter program and what our vision is. And I hope if you leave with one thing today, it's what our chapter vision is: to educate our communities with the latest research, advancements in therapies and disease info, and to connect our communities with resources from low vision organizations, and to engage our community in our mission by participating in our events. I'm going to pass it over to Bailey, who's got a fun prize to award for today's call, and then we'll wrap up with some Q&A and let you guys go off and enjoy your Saturdays. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Nathan. So as I know many of you saw on the email communications that went out, is that for the person who invited the most attendees who actually registered, they were able to be put in the ring for a $100 Target gift card that was generously donated to us. So with further ado, Mike Hogue was the winner of that gift card. Mike, I'm not sure if you were on the call or not, but I will get your information and get that mailed out to you next week. So congratulations. Once again, thank you for all of you who, sent out those emails to recruit folks, for those who registered yourself, and who invited others. So if anyone has any questions, we'll go ahead and kick off with just a quick, maybe 10, 15 minutes Q&A for anything that you might have missed during the conversation. I know that Amanda afterwards will also be sending out the recording as well as the PowerPoint presentation, so that hopefully if you missed anything, you can catch it up on there as well. For any Q&A, if you have questions that don't get answered during the presentation, you can send those to us at chapters@fightingblindness.org. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get kicked off with Q&A, and we'll let Amanda kind of be our monitor for that. So we can do it by raised hand or in the chat function. I'm sure there has to be some questions. Fi, I think I see your hand raised.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Good morning, everybody. I have 2 questions kind of related. So I think a lot of the chapters, we also have like a vision walk chair. And then in some other chapters, we've had an individual partner with Michelle Glaze on reaching out to low vision clinics or retinal specialists. How do you guys think about those positions? And do you see those as like a chair of one of those, the other 3 positions, or are they a separate position?
So, and let me just make sure I'm understanding your question again. So, which exact positions were you talking about again?
Like vision walk chair.
So the Vision Walk chairs are completely separate from the chapter program. So think of the Vision Walk as its own separate entity. So those won't combine at all with any of the chapter meetings, things like that. We will, however, when, of course, if there's a Vision Walk in the area coming up, we will promote it a bit during that revenue portion. But in terms of leadership and how the 2 different, the presidents and chairs and such of the chapter program, those do not combine with the Vision Walk chair. Does that kind of help answer your question?
Yes.
Perfect.
And then the other one was, Michelle Glaze has been partnering with a bunch of like retinal specialists in different cities. Would you say that will that continue? And if so, which of the 3 areas would you say it falls under?
Yes, definitely. So that will continue, and not only continue, we actually see that increasing. So we expect that our chapters and our chapter engagement team is, we partner with, Michelle with professional development, as well as the scientific folks and with legacy and all the other different elements of the organization. So our chapters really will work to identify a lot of those, retinal specialists and things, and we'll be able to help open up those doors for Michelle Glaze and others in the organization to be able, to make those local connections. So with that, it will most likely fall under the resource and education chair role. While it will kind of straddle the 2. So if that retinal specialist, for example, is, coming to a meeting to talk more of informative things of, educating the community, then it would fall under that education arm. If they were providing a resource to those in the local community, then it would fall more under that resource chair. But once again, it's going to be a huge collaboration between the whole. And then I also see another hand raised. Brahmi, I'm probably butchering your name.
Hi, you can call me Abby. I'm from
Abby.
Houston. Yeah.
Perfect.
So it's kind of a suggestion, or I'm just curious to know, like when we have this local chapter resource meetings or education meetings, do we also educate people about the funding for research that is given by NEI or NSF for the research grants? Because I kind of feel like it's good for everyone to know what's the research funding being given for all these, so people will be more active on science policies, and they will know how to proceed with those things as well.
Yeah, that is a great question. So one thing that we will make sure to include in all of our chapter meetings is a update on research. So what's being funded, what's in the pipeline, any new updates, any new initiatives, or, breaking news type, research or clinical trials. So yes, we definitely want to make sure to, show the dollars at work.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Sherry, I believe I see your hand raised.
I threw a couple questions in the chat, but first and foremost, I'm wondering, does every chapter have a Facebook group, and is that allowed if for some reason we don't?
Every chapter has every chapter has a Facebook page. Some have Facebook groups, and yeah, there's no rules for or against having a Facebook group.
Okay, and then this might be maybe an off topic, but back to Vision Walk and the gentleman who asked this question. Why do you keep the Vision Walk chair and committee separate from these chapter leadership rules?
I wouldn't say it's separate. I'd say that the Vision Walk chair is probably either going to be your revenue chair or be on a subcommittee underneath that revenue chair, because Vision Walk just is one of those categories of revenue. It's just not, the Vision Walk chair specifically is not one of the chapter leaders, because the chapter leaders, their main focus is putting on the chapter events in the market, like the actual educational, the chapter meetings. And the events is just one part of that. So they'll be at every chapter meeting. We'll hear about Vision Walk at every chapter meeting, but that's just not one of the leadership roles. So it'll be a subcommittee under revenue.
Okay,
If not, they're not the revenue chair.
Got it. So it does fall under.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought you were saying it was.
Yeah. Everything we do with FFB will follow under the chapter umbrella one way or another. And we just want to make sure we're connecting our members with where they want to be in the organization.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Nathan, this is Alyssa. Do you mind if I add to that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Hi, so for those of you I haven't had the opportunity to meet, my name's Alyssa Steele and I'm the Director of Events for the South Region. So with that, wondering about the chapter and Vision Walk. So we want for our events, all of our events, not just Vision Walk. I think in the past, a lot of times you see maybe the chapter president is also the walk chair. But we want to plug people in how they would like to be plugged in. So just because you're the chapter president does not mean you have to be the walk chair or even on that committee at large. So for, our walk leadership positions, it doesn't necessarily have to be chapter leadership positions. They'll of course provide updates. So they have that to present at the chapter meetings. But they don't have to be one and the same, which is nice. So on our event calls, our event committee calls, we won't really go over, any of the education or research updates really that the chapters will. We'll go over more of event updates in terms of, sponsorships, revenue, teams, etc. So they won't be one meeting moving forward. They'll be two separate.
This is Sherry. Did you call on me before?
Yeah,
Oh,
Sherry Rogers, go ahead.
Hi. I was wondering how we're supposed to grow the chapters, but with the webinars, which are the main reason, the main contact that people have with FFB, they're all for people who are already in the FFB database. So what we really need to do as chapters is to attract people who are new to FFB, and not just, we don't get them by just saying, well, we want to raise funds to, to end blindness. We have to provide them with some kind of a hook. So do you have any suggestions for that? I mean, in my area, we have, support groups or what we might call networking groups, and that gets people in. But it isn't, it isn't only for raising funds. It's for bringing them into the community. Are there other plans that we can do to grow our chapters?
Yeah, it's a great question, Sherry, and thank you you're absolutely right. We do need to grow our chapters, and we can't keep, relying on the same, base of people. So, and that's one of the main reasons we want to do the outreach to other local low vision organizations, to retina specialists, so that when someone's diagnosed, they're not just given the diagnosis and pointed to the door. They're given the diagnosis. They're informed about genetic testing. They're informed that there's a chapter in a community waiting for them to answer their questions, to bring them into the fold. But if these doctors don't know about it, if the other organizations in the community don't know about us, you're right, we're not going to grow. So it's a big burden on us to go out in the community and let people know what we're doing, who we are. And I think that's going to help bring in the new people. And when you continue that process, you're constantly growing. You bring in a new energy, new ideas, and there's things, Sherry, we're not even thinking of, and we're going to rely on our local experts like you to help come up with ideas. Okay, where's an area that we're not, doing enough outreach in, and focus on that specific area and that specific chapter. So we definitely need all of your opinions, ideas, and expertise in order to grow.
Great. I see Ram has his hand up.
Yeah, thanks. The question that I have is, as a co-research director, I can find people who can potentially talk and provide some guidance. But what do we do on the other side to invite people to attend it? So there's two parts to it. One part is to identify people who could be good speakers and share with us what they're doing on the research side. And the other part of it is inviting the community to attend. Do we get any help from the national chapter in terms of lists so that we can mail these people the upcoming events and so forth?
Absolutely, sir. Yeah, we'll do event mailing. Obviously, we'll reach out via email, social media. We rely on those partners I'm talking about in the community. We want our flyers up and announcements made in the newsletters for the Lighthouse for the Blind in your community. Because those are valuable partners of ours, and we do the same for them, they do allow us to promote our meetings through their materials as well. So I think having those multiple avenues of outreach is definitely key to to have a big attendance at the in-person meetings.
Yeah, and I don't know who mentioned it, but someone mentioned, retina specialists are the first place where people probably get the bad news or whatever it is that they have to deal with. So it would be great for us to have a list of all the retina specialists in the region, so we can have a separate mailing to them to route people to our organization.
Absolutely, you nailed it. So we've got time for one more question. Do we have a hand raised or a message, a chat question, Amanda? Okay.
Sure.
And if you, sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead.
we do have one from James Emekis, I believe. It says, is there a cheat sheet that exists that can give us all a brief description of FFB, what kind of support it offers, and why it's important to get involved? Maybe something about diagnosis and My Retina Tracker. Just something that gives us the language to go out and recruit articulately.
Yes, sir. Thank you, James. Again, it's like as if a lot of you can see our agenda. We have created a toolkit, a cheat sheet, if you will, to do exactly what James just listed off there, is going out in the community, sharing, those points of pride in our track record that FFB does, who we are, what we do, what we've done. We will actually absolutely have that prepared for everybody. So when you meet with your chapter engagement manager, they will share that toolkit with you, walk through it with you. And if there's pieces in it that you're like, I wish I had this piece in it, it's a fluid document. We're happy to add more elements, more tools for you guys to use. So great question, James. Thanks for asking. And I think with that, we're going to wrap. But like I said, you will be hearing from your chapter engagement manager next week to start planning those chapter leadership meetings and meet with your team and get engaged with your community. And once again, I cannot say it enough. Thank you all for giving up an hour on Saturday, and even more, thank you for your time and dedication to our mission.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thank
day.
you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Great
all.
job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.